Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program. Talking about experience. So today, Saturday, um, August the 30th, and the New York Predator Department have been engaging in these hit and run tactics all day. They were really, really loud, right? And I always talk about how they use certain things, use like holidays and stuff like that to up the targeting. And they were sending me subliminal message about leaving tonight, and I was like, no, you know. So I spoke to Pam earlier, and she was very, very friendly. Like I said, normally she rushed me off the phone, but she kind of like, she was talking to me. I was trying to get rid of her. I was like, listen, I gotta go. But she kept talking, talking, talking. And again, I've seen this before. They do this all the time. You know, was it like 2 days ago? I had called her, and she, like I said, she kind of like rushed me off the phone. And I said to her, I said, "Why did I say something? Did I say something to offend you?" And she's like, "I gotta go." And then the next day now, she's like, I said to her, I said, well, what's up with you yesterday? She's like, oh, because I was going out. I was like, so all you have to say is that you was going out. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got to say. So I just finished prepping to make the fish cake, and I was going to need the flour to make the dough to make base. But I was looking for, I have bought these containers, these plastic containers, and there's a big one. And usually that's where I make the dough in. And I couldn't find it. I'm like, I don't know, maybe she probably threw it away or have you. I saw the cover there, but not the bowl. So I called her. She didn't answer. I texted her. She didn't answer. So I said, okay, let me call my daughter. Called my daughter. She didn't answer either. I said, okay, well, maybe they're out. But I texted her and no response. After I call her a second, I waited for like about 10, 15 minutes, and I call her again. She didn't answer. They send the ambulance, right, making a whole bunch of noise. Then the New York Predator Department, as I said, I sent the ambulance. Did you hear the car horn? Very, very low. They're very sneaky and they say certain things. So then about a few minutes later, the New York Predator Department showed up using their sirens and blah blah blah. Now, also, what they've been doing, and I talk about how they use sound in a directional manner. So, like earlier today, as I was heading to the door, they start using their sirens. All right. Then they start sending me subliminal messages about psychic or some shit like that. And I'm just like, I'm not psychic. Okay. Information is something that when you're a person like me, going through what I go through as a TI, and other TIs are going through, even those who may not realize and understand how they're being targeted. Like I was watching a video with Bobby Hermit, um, and you can hear in the background the amount of sirens that was going off in the video of him. Um, and I was like, and I already knew he was targeted, just like Dr. Phil Valentine's, just like Dr. Yosef Ben Joachim and Dr. John Henry Clark. This is what they do when you have black people within the society, black men and black women, who not only are at the top of their field in terms of their their studies, but even those within who are outside of academia, right, who are doing research on their own, who might have talents in other areas or have you, but who have a form of consciousness that they can identify, right, um, through surveillance, illegal surveillance within the black community. We know the black community has been under surveillance since forever, right? They call into a pro document that says that to surveil the black community going forward, and to seek out and destroy any potential leader. If they can't control them, then they destroy them. And you know, the one thing that I always look at my targeting and my brother's group, I'm a twin, is the fact that when we were engaging in trying to, we had kind of like a business mindset, and particularly in the industry that we're in. And he was targeted, but I was targeted at the same time because we are twins. So I don't know if when he was targeted in the mid 90s, I was being targeted also, but I just didn't see it. He kind of woke up to his targeting earlier than me, right? But when I did explain to him what was happening, he said to me, he said, when I went to see a therapist and I said, and they diagnosed me, and he said, well, I'm a twin. My brother don't experience that. And this was in the mid 90s. And he was like, they said that you were going to experience it later too. And I was like, what? So, just to give you guys some backstory of what it is that, we just talk about what he said to me. But it wasn't until I started doing the research outside of just, going through what I go through. But like I felt like I was being given um, insights, right, into certain things. You know, um, like there's certain things that used to happen to me when I went out with people. Like they would point to certain signs, but I knew that they were being manipulated. Right. So again, I always talk about the Wizard of Oz, and the one thing that I talk about that they put messages in movies, right, is when you look at the Wizard of Oz and you look at the people who are being manipulated by someone who was using technology, who had advanced knowledge, that these people were very ignorant, right? They were believers. And it shows you how believers will always be manipulated by people with knowledge and people who have technology. Because once they have you believing in the supernatural, this is shit that they created, okay? That's their terminology for these things. When I say they, Europeans, because they understand, right? When they went back into Africa, they didn't go back into Africa to kidnap ignorant people. That's the first lie, right? When they went into Africa, they know that they were going to kidnap highly creative people, high intelligent people, but they had to limit our access to knowledge. Not only access to knowledge, but limit our abilities. This is why they stole our inventions. This is why when you look at, the things that black African slaves were able to accomplish in terms of agriculture, right? It is we were once again teaching Europeans how to cultivate land, right? Remember too, at the ending of slavery, who had all of the experience? Who have all of the knowledge of agriculture, blacksmithing, these things, right? Well, black people. This is why they imported a lot of Europeans who had trade skills, because the white European Americans didn't have no skills, right? You know what the skills that they had? The skills that they had was telling black people, what to do. That was their skills, right? But the black people had the skills, right? So understand what it is that they do, and I totally understand the cognitive warfare. Just doing the research, have like I said, you gain insights and foresights into what it is that they're doing, because when you look at the mindset of the dark triad personality traits, right? The Machiavellianism, the narcissism, and the psychopathy, right? Psychopaths like to play with their victims, and this is what they do with us. When I talk about the psychopathic relationship that white people have with black people, when I talk about, when Hillary Clinton was talking about black boys as super predators, and so the the psychopaths love to tell us what they're going to do to us, how they're going to manipulate us in the society. But we have been, our minds have been subdued, our minds have been conquered. So when they say these things, when they say, well, black women are hypersexual, you look at today, you see how they've conditioned black women, how they manipulate them, condition them to become what? Hypersexual, right? This is what they do. You got to listen to what these people say and know that this is what they're planning to do. So you gotta, as a black person, you gotta become conscious. And it's very hard, because for those of us who are conscious of these things, trying to teach it to other black people or trying to let them know is one of the most difficult things that we can do. So this is something that um, I've been talking about a lot, right? And when I talk about the things that they would do, the type of subliminal message they would send me, type of transmission I would receive from them, it is to let me know. Why? Because it is a game they play. It is a game they play. And the game they play is Let's see how we can use technology, for one, microwave, radio wave frequency, to send messages, right? Even in dreams, what is called dream um, inoculation. So they've had the capabilities to do these things. They've been had these capabilities here in your Predator department, and the reason why they're using the sirens is because I just got a text from Pam. Um, so the use of technology, which they hide, which is classified, highly classified, right? And like I said, it's like cults, right? So if you believe that you join a cult, you are wrong. Okay? You don't join a cult. The cult selects you. They manipulate you into joining them. So you don't join. Go to look at any videos on cults, particularly destructive cults, and you'll see cults target you. So you don't join a cult. They manipulate you into joining them. All right? And then once you join them, you can't leave the cult. All right? So again, I just want you to understand that a lot of the times the things that we are conditioned to do is not because it is our own uh, mindset. It is a conditioning mindset that's created within us by external forces. Okay. Now you want to whatever you want to call it. If you religious, you might say is supernatural heavy, but it's technology that they have developed, that they have lied about, and they will pick and select people within the society to feed information because they love to play a game. It's like the game Catch Me If You Can, right? Again, which is very difficult. We deal with people who are at the top, money, power, highly skilled in terms of every field. They have people who are skilled in every field, right? So when you look at the MK Ultra program, what did they do? Neuroscience, chemistry, right? Creation of drugs, right? Um, Psychological manipulation, right? Mapping out the brain using radio wave and microwave frequency. And I posted an article on uh, cognitive warfare, which is a new article that came out recently. And now they're talking about cognitive warfare and neurocognitive warfare together. Whereas before, it would be cognitive warfare. That's all they would talk about. Now they're talking about cognitive warfare and neurocognitive warfare. And I've been talking about both for well over a few years now. Right? We as TIs, you've been talking about these things for decades. Okay, so you got to understand the reason why they do this to people within the society. It is because of their sick minds, because they want to see who is going to listen to you, who is going to, um, you know, listen and do the research themselves. And when people, there's a saying, I forgot who said this, but it was like, you you don't the only how you have freedom of speech is when people don't listen to you. The minute you people listen to you, particularly if you amass a good amount of followers, you no longer have freedom of speech. All right. So when they engage, because I think I have thousands of videos loaded up on YouTube, and I have like in terms of the people that have watched my videos, I have like over 1 million views. Not on just one video, but all together, right? If you look at when I go to my analytics and I look at to see, well, how many people viewed my videos, I have over 1 million views. There were times when I showed you guys how they would throttle my videos from uploading, how they would prevent my videos from uploading, right? How they will tell me that my video uploaded, but the next day when I go to view the video, none of my videos were uploaded. These are the things that they do. This is why I started a Rumble account. I had to start back posting on Rumble also, because I know since I've been posting back on YouTube, they have not been doing that so much. Once or twice. Not like every single day like they normally do. Particularly when they try to hide, the fact how they target me and I record something that they don't want me to show. So they have been, I guess, not so much being aggressive in terms of throttling my videos, in terms of trying to censor my videos. Because, like I keep saying, when they do stuff like that, when I show you guys this, it is because you guys are watching, you guys are listening. All right, that's why now they start doing the spitting sound. So the projection of sound around me, this is something that they'll do. But anyhow, so you hear the sirens. That was a little while ago. Like I said, I received two texts from Pam immediately afterwards. The New York Predators Dept start using the sirens. This is the type of things that they do, right? And this is why I've learned to not engage in certain things, because I realized that what they were doing was changing my personality, even though I was still conscious of what it is that they were doing, right? So, for example, when I talk about how they will at times test me to see my emotional state, like when I'm walking outside, people will come bumping into me. It's like, what was it? I came over here yesterday, no, Thursday, on the way here. You know, they do these things, right? And if you are not conscious of what it is that they do, it'll take you a while. I mean, for some people, it may take them sooner. Hopefully, if you were a new TI and you're looking at our videos, that you are learning something, because for those of us who they've targeted, you know, 2 decades ago, 3 decades, 4 decades ago, right? They really did a number on us. All right. So part of the reason why I do these videos is that if there's any new TIs and they do look at our videos, that they would not fall into the traps, because there is a plethora of information, a plethora of TIs like myself who have documented our experience that you guys can learn from. Okay, so that you don't continue, so you don't fall into the traps, you don't get the confusion, that you understand what's being done, that you understand this is not some religious spiritual warfare like a lot of religious believers, like particularly some of these TIs, would like to believe. They talk about chosen ones. Chosen for what? Chosen for what? You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to be chosen, I'd rather be chosen to have, uh, you know, intelligence, to have wealth, so I can help my people, right? I think that's what we all want, right? We all want to live a life that is in which we're not surviving, but we're living, right? That the vast majority of people are in poverty. So chosen for what? I hate when I hear uh, these niggerpians, and I call them niggerpians because they believe in this white man religion, without truly understanding the concept of where these religion comes from, and how what they were given was something that's totally not beneficial to them, but to keep them indoctrinated, to keep them uh, 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 to pacify their minds, so that they're suffering, that they find pride in suffering, they find joy in suffering, right? So that's what Jesus suffered. So what I'm going through is nothing compared to what Jesus will go through. Jesus is a character in a damn book, okay, called the Bible. Jesus was never a historical person, even though you'll hear them say about, well, the historical Jesus. There was no historical Jesus, okay? Because you can go and Google Emperor Vespasian, okay, who was the emperor before Jesus was born, emperor of Rome. And you will find that he did a lot of the same miracles that Jesus did, okay? Uh, and his son, Titus, all right? When Roman emperor died, the Roman Senate, as well as the citizens, they deify their emperors. Right? They'll come up with all these stories about them performing miracles and so forth. So, like I said, you gotta open your mind. Go study a religion. All right. Um, I would suggest you read Kelsey Gray's um, the 16. I think it's Kelsey Gray's the 16 Crucified Saviors, where you will see before you're Jesus, there were 16 saviors, right, who share most of the things that you're taught about Jesus. All right. So like baptism, that started in Kemet thousands of years before you have baptism in the Bible. So these are something that, again, you guys have to understand. Religion is used to manipulate us. Technology is used to manipulate us. Technology and religion together, that is more powerful than religion itself. That is more powerful than technology itself. All right. And you'll see that now you have these tech oligarchs are now using religious languages to promote the AI. Like I said, religion and technology, particularly AI, we're looking at the manipulation, the brainwashing of people on a whole nother level. All right. Talk to you guys in the next video.